So why do we see near and far? Because this year will soon change. If we see the change, it'll put us ahead of the change. The eagle sees afar off, not just what's here above. Like if you write, like that's what the spirit of the 2020 is all about. Is in this vision of the 2020 is rising up like an eagle. That's a very independent thing. That the spirit of a prophet is very independent. So it's not dependent on what's happening down here in the circuit, right? When you rise up, this is not coming from your normal vision that you normally have, like your turkey circuit where you scratch around for a living, or in your chook pen where it might be where your church is giving you cereal feed. This is not coming from there. This is because you've mounted up wings of an eagle and you've seen afar off, as well as you've seen the change that you need to make for that far off thing. See, if you rise up, you don't only see the circuit that you're on as a turkey, but you also see the circuit that all the other turkeys are on as well. But we're talking about we're seeing past all that. We're seeing past all the chook pens to something else that's far off. So it speaks to transition in this year, because the eagle's got to see what the lion eats, because it's an acquisition that the lion has in the future. That's why we roar, because it's a declaration. The Lion of the tribe of Judah is a territorial beast. The lion takes territory. That's what it does. It owns the territory that it has. It takes. That's what the tribe of Judah is all about, is taking territory. That's what declaration's all about. That's what the mouth's all about, is taking territory for the kingdom of God. It always speaks of income too when you're looking afar off, because even though it's afar off, it's an incoming. The other thing is too that I saw was to see from whence it comes is just discern what you're fixing your gaze on. Don't fix your gaze out there on something that's not of God, that's not a God incoming. Fix it on what is of God and is incoming. It's the decade declaration. That's the lion roars is the same as the roaring 20s that I saw. There's a spiritual status in belonging to the tribe of the Lion of Judah. That's King David's sort of tribe, where he was very much an acquisition type of king. The lion's very territorial. He took a lot of territory for Israel that God promised Israel that they never had before David showed up. And even when they had it, they didn't really. They were always under pressure of the Philistines until David more or less ousted them out of the territory that he was in. Also, there's a sense of strength and power and being part of that tribe, and that's what David created in Israel. They had a sense of defeating the enemy all the time. They had a sense of victory, and they had an acquisition of land. And that all came with the decade of declaration. It was a very, very big victory song coming from them, and that's what the lion's roar is all about. It's very much an image that you have inside. You won't roar like a lion if you haven't got the image of a lion inside. If you haven't got the image, it just won't happen. So it's all about getting the image. It's all about image of a lion inside yourself, so that you see yourself as the lion during the decade. So there is a transformation going from the eagle to the lion during the decade, because the eagle sees what the lion eats. 2 Chronicles 20:20, part B. Believe in the Lord your God, so ye shall be established. Believe his prophets, so shall ye prosper. This is part of the 2:2 that I see. Very clearly I see the 2:2. How I see the 2:2 is probably not the same way as most people would see it. I see it as a fractal of the 2020, the 2:2 being that. Now look at this here. It's 2 Chronicles to start off with. It says 2 Chronicles. Then it's part B, so there's obviously a part A. So there's 2 happening there, but there's also 2020. So there's 2020. So there's 2 there, but there's also 2 and 2 in the 20. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 going. You know, believe in the Lord your God. Okay, that's 1. So shall you be established. 2. Then it's got the 2 again. Believe in the Lord, believe his prophets. 1. So shall you prosper. 2. That's 2. You can see how I'm coming up with this. Okay, look at this scripture here. Habakkuk 2:2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. Now, you can see what I'm saying here, because it's got the 2 happening again here. And the Lord said unto me, and said, write the vision and make it plain. Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets. Okay, so that's 2. Write the vision and make it plain. Right? That he that run with it, so he's running, may read. So he reads and runs. So it's 2 again. This is the scripture that I've got that's going with it. That's sort of precipitating the 2. I think you can understand that. That's why I got a bit highlighted. And I said, you know, this is just guessing, but we've got them. And although I feel pretty buoyed on because I only just saw it and wrote it in as I was doing it, but I saw that about the fires in Australia, and Australia being on fire at the beginning of the decade. Also the 2 being in. So that was the natural, and being on fire at the end of the decade in the spiritual. You know, first the natural, then the spiritual. It's sort of like, you know, I don't mind throwing that in. I see 2s in this decade as parts A and parts B, and the initiation and the fulfillment. I see 2s very connected, though dissimilar. Yeah, that's what I see. I see God's sovereignty in our self-fulfilling prophecy, 2020 and Habakkuk 2:2. I see in the future, and I see under our noses too. I see those 2 things happening. Now I see this God's sovereignty. It's God's sovereignty. When we get up and we see, and we see like the eagle lifts up. That's a very independent spirit. The eagle's like the prophet spirit. It's not like part of the normal turkeys or the chooks in the pen all together. You know, taking their pecking order. As far as the food goes, you know, the eagle, he goes up and he can take whatever food he wants from wherever he likes because he sees the whole deal. You know, so the eagle's got this sort of like independent sort of thing, whereas the chooks, they're like no matter who they are, say with the chooks, you know, no matter who they are, they've got to find a pecking order, and once they find that pecking order, they're happy, and they make sure the next chook's in that same pecking order. You know, the turkeys are the same. You see them running around here all day long, you know, doing that sort of thing. I'm in a very chook turkey area here. I just sort of let you know. So there's that sort of thing. Let's move on. And there's 2 people. There's us and the person. Now there's the lion, and there's the eagle. That's us now. But we rise up and we see. And there's also the lion of the future who takes it. So that's us. That's who we want to be. You know, we want to be that lion. We want to be that established, owning the title deeds type of person. Or if it's bringing people into the kingdom, you know, that we want to have them established in God. Your status and your reality. So there's two realms here. Like the reality is, you know, you're in the chook pen and you're being fed every week, you know. But so that's reality. But you got 2 things happening. You got a status. You can also rise up as an eagle and be far above that. You know, there's two realms. I think you can see that. There's also the lion and the eagle. The eagle and the lion, the 2 animals. The transition from cereal feeder or circuit chook to eagle. So that's a transition that goes on early on in the year in 2020. Yet the transition from eagle to lion happens in the latter part. So there's part A and part B. To receive and to do, they're 2 different things. The first part is really a receiving from God. You're lifted up, so you're actually seeing and receiving from God. There's no actual acquisition, but in part B, there's a real to do. You have to do something to actually receive. So the idea of being raised up in the first part is to get ahead of the change. So you see the change coming for what you're going to have in the future, in the decade. The fulfillments. is an incoming outside of the realm of the range you operate, and that's the A. And the B is in the job or the church circuit that you work. So that's, you've got two fulfillments happening. You're having one in your area where you are now, that where you see the change and you get ahead of the change, and the other one is in the incoming outside of the realm that you normally work in your area. My role in all this is, I'm just saying, like I've got a disclaimer here. I'm not giving the word in affiliation with any church. That's the truth. I'm, as it were, for this moment, a dog without a home. I find that funny because it's last year, around about, last year 2019, the 10th of the 2nd 2019. So that's the 10th of February 2019. I got this word from God, and I didn't know whether it was a word from the Lord or not, but I suspected it was as soon as it came. And anyway, it's a prophet without a church is like a dog without a home. A church without a prophet is like a dog without a bone. It's got nothing to chew on. And I thought, that there's something about this. It's just too good for me. I try to write things down and do little sayings and that, but this was just too neat, and I just knew that it had that sort of little God edge on it, So I wrote it out on a piece of paper. I think I wasn't going to say church. I was saying a prophet without a covering was like a dog without a home. So I gave that to the pastor of the church that I was going to on a piece of paper, and I think, probably got thrown in a crazy bit or something like that. I'd like to think it was treasured somewhere, but I don't know. I can't see it. And anyway, so I was pretty buoyed on by it, because I thought, just something about it. It was just sort of like, just had that little bit more than just, sort of the natural Neil sort of thing, had that little bit of, spark of supernatural about it. I was very happy about it. And anyway, I went to the other church. I was going to two churches at the time. That's the 2-2 coming in again. I was going to the other church, and when I went to the other church, I told the other pastor about it. I told him the word, and I thought, well, that's great, and he sort of, oh yeah, word, okay. And anyway, so I told a few people around the place, and nothing seemed to come of it. So I thought, well, Sunday I'm going home. It means nothing to no one. So I went home. And come Tuesday night prayer meeting, we're out there and we're all meeting. And the second pastor I gave the word to, he gets up and he says, oh, there's this guy in the hospital at the moment, and he's having this anxiety attacks and a few things like this, And he mentioned his name and everything like that. And so the 2-2 comes in again, because his name was the same as mine, put it that way. So there's 2-2. And anyway, so he said that. And I thought, hang on, this is only a couple of days from there. And so on that day that I would have told him, he would have been probably in the hospital in the fix. So I put my hand up and I said, hey, Lord. And he said, oh, no. So I thought, hang on, there's a prophet. Now, he was a prophet. He's in a hospital with an anxiety attack, and he's not going to any church, And it says a prophet without a church is like a dog without a home. Well, you know what a dog without a home's like. It's getting kicked around everywhere. It's liable to get run over. It's getting kicked around the street. It's not really getting proper food. It's here, there, and everywhere. It's really muddled up in its brain. Nobody owns him. Nobody cares about him. He's just cactus, down the street. That's a dog without a home. That's what the vision I've got. Now, a church without a prophet is like a dog without a bone. That's the other half. That's the 2-2. That's the 2-2 coming. Now, it's got nothing to chew on, so it doesn't get the real revelation word from God, so it just goes off on its own. It's not really chewing anything. It's just saying nothing. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I got. So that the church needs some sort of spiritual input of some sort. Whether it's a pastor who gets up there and gets it, well, that's great. That's what the church needs.